Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore positively getting ready for football on Sunday. Watching a lot of baseball this week as well. Luke is out in Owings Mills. He's our official doctor. We're going to call him Dr. Luke Jones this week for all of them. We have our doctors at GBMC that'll help us out as well. We are taking the Doctor of Crab Cakes out on Wednesday. We're going to be at Faidley's and Lexington Market giving away Raven scratch-offs on Wednesday, and then on Monday doing the show and the Crab Cake Tour at Costas in Timonium. I don't know if it's going to be a good news final or not. 1-3 has been a very, very bitter pill to swallow, as well as injuries to Lamar Jackson and Ronnie Stanley and Roquan Smith and Nnamdi Madubuike and Marlon Humphrey. The Houston Texans are coming in. And we're a little worried about Cooper Rush, and we're a little worried about the pass rush and all sorts of rush. Marc Vandermeer is the voice of the Houston Texans, has been for a long, long time from the beginning. We always like having him on. Sometimes it's playoff games, sometimes it's regular season games, but rarely am I as concerned about a visit from the Houston Texans as I am this week. Mark, you guys picking a good time for that franchise to come up here and try to pick through the carcass of what's left of the Ravens at this point.
Well, hey, I'm not eating the rat poison, okay, Nestor, because the Texans have never won in Baltimore, and I'm old enough to remember Kyle Bowler hitting 3 consecutive passes to put the Ravens in field goal range in 2005 during a very disappointing Texans season. But we've lost that way. We've lost the playoff game when Jacoby Jones, then a Texan, fumbled a punt return, and it was just one of many turnovers in the game, 4 turnovers in all. And I know Jacoby became a great Raven, the late Jacoby Jones, RIP. But there have been so many heartbreakers up there and so many decisive wins for the Ravens against the Texans. Now, the Texans have only beaten Baltimore twice, and they were both here at NRG Stadium. So I'm not eating that rat poison. I'm not taking the bait. The Texans are 1-3. If you had both of these teams at 1-3 on your bingo card, raise your hand. Nobody will. It is what it is. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I look forward to all games, but it's an opportunity, and let's see if the Texans can take advantage of it. But I know the Ravens, whatever's out there for Baltimore, is going to play well enough to win.
Oh, come on. Be a homer and pretend you're going to come in and win and tell me how the Texans are going to win. Tell me what's good about the Texans at this point, other than the fact that they're healthier than the Ravens by a lot.
Well, this defense, I think, is the best in the league, among the best anyway, right? Right now, statistically, points allowed, they're the best in the league. And the teams they've lost to, they're 1-3. The teams they've lost to are all 3-1, right? Jacksonville's number 1 in turnover margin. They lost to them. They lost to the Rams on opening day out there. They held them to 14 points, but only scored 9. And Tampa Bay, Monday Night Football, a lot of people saw that one, had a chance to stop Baker Mayfield on 4th and 10, couldn't do it. He scrambled. He eventually drove downfield, got a touchdown. And, that was on the defense. But I think all together, the defense is the thing to hang your hat on here in Houston. DeMeco Ryans has done a terrific job coaching that side of the football. Matt Burke, the defensive coordinator, he actually turned over play calling duties to Burke in the last game. That was cool. So that's good. I think special teams are pretty good. They had one bad game, but pretty good overall. And the offense is a work in progress. Nick Caley's the offensive coordinator. They've been developing it. They've been running the ball a little bit better. They've been passing a little bit better as the weeks have gone on. But, man, this was like a breakout game for them to score 3 touchdowns against a bad Tennessee Titans team. It was something. They had to do it. They did it. They had 3 fourth-quarter scores. That was good. Let's see if they can carry that momentum further into Baltimore.
Obviously, Lamar's been transcendent for the whole league and the way the game's played and the running the ball and all that. We saw C.J. Stroud come in a couple years ago and do some of the things, and I think we saw some of that from Kyler Murray in Arizona and other places where more diminutive quarterbacks that run different than like a Josh Allen will run you over and give you a stiff arm on the way through. But Stroud was so good in the beginning, and it felt like, a star is born. And then you find out how difficult it is. And Lamar is taking these steps to become a better passer. They've done things to create protection and drafting better, and Zay Flowers and your guy D-Hop in here running around this year. But for Stroud, it hasn't been as linear, right? It's been up, down, choppy. And more than that, I felt like last year, and when he's not having success, the amount of harassment he was taking and the fact that the running game hasn't been consistent and the skill position players aren't, like, let's say what Lamar has. Where is CJ Stroud in this up and down sort of trying to get to the thought where they have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback? I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know that I would trade him for Lamar at this point, or trade Lamar for him, I should say. But I think he's good enough, but I also think the pieces around him, and I saw all of that the first year. It's never a straight line, right? And it really is about the other
Right.
10 guys you surround him with.
It is. Look, the rookie season was so good. It was historically good. And it took him forever to throw his first interception. And he was so good that his first interception was turned right back over to them on the same play. I mean, it's like he's that magical. I mean, everything seemed to be going right. Yet you look at the record, they were kind of slogging along at 500 for a lot of the season, and then going into the final week, had to beat the Colts to make the playoffs, and they did. They finished 10-7. But relevant to Stroud himself, that was a great year. Last year, the pass protection broke down a bit. Everybody had tape. Everybody went after him. And I think the offensive line really struggled. And then you look at this year, the offensive line's been rebuilt, and they drafted Tay Ursery to play left tackle. They brought in Cam Robinson, but they just traded him. They have some new pieces up front, new offensive coordinator, and it's a work in progress. We're looking at it in real time. The narrative changes not week to week necessarily, but after the first 3 weeks, you know Stroud can do it. It's in there. You've seen it. You've seen the accuracy. You've seen the deep ball throwing. You've seen the ball placement, all of that great stuff. And he is running it more, Nestor. I think that's a really big key. You know, we look at Patrick Mahomes, maybe the greatest quarterback in the league. I think he is. You notice how much he runs. He does run. It's selective, but he does do it, and it's very effective to be able to take off and get you that fresh set of downs when all hope is lost. Apparently, on a 3rd and long or whatever the case is. So I like what I see out of C.J. Stroud. I think that the last game was a good one for him to have 2 touchdown passes, his highest quarterback rating since the finale of his rookie season. So maybe they're headed in the right direction here. But you know how these narratives are. They kind of ebb and flow. And, one week Justin Herbert's going to the Super Bowl. The next week, I don't know, he just lost to the Giants and threw 2 picks. It's strange. And I'm sure Lamar, look, I was reading some of the tweets about Lamar. And look, tweet reading is probably a hobby we should all drop. But I was reading some of those tweets during the Kansas City Chiefs game because we were done, and I'm thinking, they're killing Lamar over here. I'll take him. I mean, look, I love CJ, but the point is this: Lamar Jackson, are you kidding me? He gives you a chance every year to get to the Super Bowl. Now, I know he hasn't done it yet, but to have that opportunity, to have that op going into a season, look how many teams have no shot to go. They should be happy with Lamar Jackson. And look at the numbers last year. You get 40-plus touchdown passes, 4,000 yards, Derrick Henry going nuts. And I know they haven't done that yet this year, but look at the teams they've lost to. These are really good teams. So it's a long season. I'm sure the Ravens are going to get it together. I just hope it's not Sunday.
Look, if I talked to you a month ago, like I did John McClain before the season began, and it's like, Lamar, Ravens favored, look at the gambling numbers, look at anything, look at the division they're in. Joe Burrow's hurt, all of these positive things, and yet you look up at 1-3 and see the team they're going to put on the field this week, but let alone the team they're going to have to field defensively most of the rest of the year, given what's happened to Matabike, where they are with Roquan, the aging issues of Marlon Humphrey. Nate Wiggins got hurt last week, so they're really playing with a depleted roster, and it speaks to the coaching. I mean, John Harbaugh's on the hot seat, Zach Orr's on the hot seat defensively here. I don't feel like you have that in Houston, and I feel like from the minute DeMeco Ryans was hired there, I feel like it's going to be a long time before they hire another coach there. I feel like he's got enough slack and enough goodwill built up in the community, not just the media, but with the real fans and the kind of coach he's been on the field thus far. I would think you remember the day you met DeMeco Ryans when he came in as a second-round pick in 06, right?
Of course I do. I've been here since the beginning, and I remember DeMeco getting drafted. I remember, and we talked about this before, players calling him Cap as a rookie. He was captain immediately as a rookie. You knew the alpha out there. And, even me, like, I'm not Mr. X's and O's, but I went out to rookie minicamp and I said, Alpha, there he is. There's the alpha dog, and then the veterans got there, OTAs. There's the one. He's the leader. Clearly the leader. And older guys were leaning on him. He's that potent a leader. And look, DeMeco could go 6-11 this year, and he's not going anywhere. And I'm fine with it. He'll figure it out. I trust his football brain. I think he's the kind of guy. And as he lets go of some play calling duties on defense, and he's focusing a little bit on offense too, but the whole operation in general, I think he's in that offensive room a lot. I think he could also coach the offense. I am not backing away from that. I think about coaches like Bill Parcells who could coach both sides of the ball, or maybe Belichick too as well. But he could be that. I'm not saying he should. Again, I want to get on the record. I'm not saying he should do that. I'm saying he could do that. He's that football bright, and I don't want him going anywhere. He's a tremendous human being. He's the kind of guy that the players look up to. They want to be better men, better people around him because he has that effect on people. And I believe that that's going to take them far. Does it happen this year? Look, they're in a hole right now that they got to dig out of, and we'll see if they can do it. But I'm in here for the long haul with DeMeco Ryans for sure.
Oh, I think that Houston is. I mean, I think that's very apparent from the outside in. Kind of reminds me of, my guy in Seattle as well here. Young coaches, when you bring them in and it smells right and it feels right. But more than that, when it's a legacy guy in a franchise where, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Texans as I hold up my Oilers stuff, but it's been a rough go. I mean, I'm an Oriole fan here and watching this thing, trying to put it together. It's the toughest thing in the world to do is win at sports. And when you have the right people there, you at least feel it. And I feel that way that the Texans didn't have that for the longest time, but I feel like they got the leadership right. And I feel like they have the quarterback right.
It's funny, Nestor, because it has been a rough go in that you haven't been to the AFC Championship game, and that's a big disappointment. You have 24 years of football. This is the 24th season.
Gosh, we're getting old.
I know it's crazy. I was talking about Kyle Bowler a moment ago. I'm dating myself completely. I work with people around this office who Kyle Bowler. I mean, they were like 3 years old when that happened, if that. It's crazy. But anyway,
that is crazy. I mean, these young people don't know anything. Yeah,
well, it's nuts because you're so young in spirit and energy, and so am I. So to us, that feels like 10 minutes ago and 20 years, right?
So 5 years ago, my wife and I go to Hawaii for the first time ever, and we'd waited all of our lives to go to Hawaii. Fly to Hawaii all day, all night through San Francisco. We land in Maui. We rent our car. We drive to the Westin. We get there. We're jet lagged. Let's just get in the pool. We went down to the pool. I get in the pool. There are 5 people in the pool, a guy, a woman, and their kids. I look over, it's Kyle Bowler. I'm like, dude, you can't escape me. So when you bring up, I loved Kyle Bowler, everything about him except the play. And you mentioned that 05 loss that you're still licking your wounds 20 years later. 05 was not a good year around here. We didn't have good years around here with Kyle Bowler, So
no, I'm
so I know what it's like to have a quarterback where you think you don't have the guy. So
I tell stories around here. I'm like, hey, the Texans lost to Brian Billick, and the kids around here are like, wait, is that the guy who coached that 2000 team? I'm like, yes, we lost to him in 02. We played the Ravens here at NRG Stadium, played them close because the Texans had a defense that inaugural year, and they finished 16th in the league with 0 offense. So that was kind of impressive. But anyway, I forget where we were at. Other than this, the Texans have won a lot of division titles, right? They've had more winning seasons than losing seasons since 07. Okay, starting in 07, they went 500. So they've been 500 or better in more seasons than not since then. They've won the AFC South more than anybody since they started winning the division in 2011. That's all fine, but you got to get to the AFC Championship game. You got to get to the Super Bowl at some point, even just get there to participate in that game. It would be so phenomenal. This city, you mentioned the Oilers deepest run as Oilers. I mean, I know the Titans went to the Super Bowl, but the Oilers' deepest run was 78, 79, getting to the AFC Championship game with Love You Blue, Earl Campbell, Pastorini, all those guys. And those were great teams, but they had the Steelers in the way. They were like a wall, kind of like the Chiefs are to Buffalo and the Ravens right now. And you got to get through that wall in order to break through and get to the level you want to achieve.
Bum said we got to kick that door down next year, and they're cheating with the Mike Renfro. Marc Vandermeer is here. He is the longtime voice of all things Houston Texans. He is Texans Voice. You can follow him out on the social media places as well. Last thing for you, just incidentally, the D-Hop thing here. And, man, I remember him in Houston thinking that dude's a Hall of Famer. He's gone up in the air every game here, 4 games in a row. And last week there was a penalty on one of the plays, but he went up in the air and he grabs the ball effortlessly. And every time I see him play, I think that's a Hall of Fame dude there. That's a dude.
I agree.
And they brought him in here and he's just an extra piece. They've only had him line up 10, 15 plays a game. They throw him the ball ahead. They don't throw the ball a lot around here. They'll be throwing a lot less with Cooper Rush around here this week, I would think as well. But in the case of Hopkins, I mean, That's an interesting player. I know with a lot of tread for the Houston fans there that you'll be watching him a little. But what a special talent! I mean, I even see it later in his career. He comes in and I'm like, that guy's a great football player.
I was shocked when they traded him. My son cried. He was a beloved player. I mean, this is like, uh, I don't know if I'm overstating. It's like the Celtics trading Larry Bird or something. Okay. He was that special to the fan base. And yeah, the Texans have not had, we have CJ Stroud now. We had Watson when he was hot, but the Texans are wide receiver you in a way because you look at Andre Johnson, Hall of Famer on a bunch of bad teams early on in his career. DeAndre Hopkins, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Now we have Nico Collins. He's really getting going now. We'll see where it ends up. I'm not going to put him in that category just yet, but Hop was so good, Nestor, and so different from Andre Johnson. These receivers are like artists. They're virtuosos, right? They have different styles. To me, Andre Johnson, had he been drafted by the Patriots, we'd be talking about Andre Johnson as the greatest receiver that ever lived because he'd have Super Bowls. He'd have all that postseason success. I think he would have outdone Jerry Rice. I think he's Jerry Rice, robo Jerry Rice. You know, he's Jerry Rice in a lab. He's stronger, faster, that kind of thing. Andre Johnson was amazing, but Hop's hands are the best I've ever seen, period. The guy makes incredible catches, and you mentioned a penalty wipes out a catch. The greatest, it's better than the Odell Beckham catch. Look it up against the Giants, 2014. He goes up one hand over two guys and pulls it down, but it's wiped out by a penalty, not on him. Well, actually, I think he lined up kind of off the line of scrimmage or on one of those, but the catch was amazing acrobatically. Doesn't count. He had one against the Dolphins, 2018, like caught it with his legs practically. Didn't count because of a penalty on somebody else. So he has some amazing catches that don't count, but he also has the one against the Steelers, Christmas Day, 2017. Incredible catch. Tirico went nuts, immediately said that's the catch of the year. He's made so many. As a play-by-play announcer, I had to learn when the ball's on the sideline and it looks like he's out of bounds for sure, I would just wait because, you look at the replay, he gets the two toes down. Somehow, miraculously, he is amazing. He shows up at the game. You look at the arrival videos, he shows up at a kimono or something sometimes. He's so eccentric and then goes out and gives you 10 for 125 and a score. He's amazing. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I always will.
Well, it's been fun watching him, and I wish they would get the ball to him a little bit more, but Mark, I'm just looking to survive this thing here. All the Super Bowl expectation, 1-3, everybody's hurt. Make a case that you are taking the purple rat poison here and that the Texans can be successful this week. How's that going to happen for them this week?
Well, it sounds stupid. Like it sounds like don't. Well, you have to outscore the opponent. Don't turn the ball over. Okay, it's one of those simplistic things, but turnovers have hurt them this year. They cannot turn the ball over. They got to play clean. If they play clean, I think they got a great chance because they're running the ball better. Woody Marks is a player to watch out for. Number 27, a rookie, had 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing last week. He's good. And I think they got to lean on him more, lean on these rookies a little bit more. Jaden Higgins, obviously throw the ball to Nico Collins, let that kind of thing cook and eat on defense, whichever way you can. Look, it's hard against Lamar Jackson, and we don't know right now and all that. Derrick Henry, my gosh, but you got to find a way to slow this team down. I think that the Texans have to score at least 24, 27 points to win, and that's going to be tough against this team in that building, but they got to find a way.
Yeah, the big debate here, and I know it'll come onto your airwaves in Houston as well, is just will Lamar play or not? And if he plays and he's got a hammy, he's not Lamar. You know what I mean? If Lamar can't run, Lamar's not Lamar. So taking that away from him, and then the question of 1-3 is different than 3-1 or even 2-2. 1-4 would definitely be different. We say must win and all that. Do you put Lamar out there if he's 80%, 70%? Do you want to lose a game and go to 1-4 without Lamar? Do you want to get Lamar more injured? And so there's just those are the questions this week, and those are not the questions you want to be asking at 1-3 with everybody injured in the defense. It's just sky's falling here right now, and the only thing that's going to make it better is a win on Sunday.
Is Derrick Henry healthy? That's the thing, because 2018 week 2 we go to Tennessee, their quarterback's out, they have Blaine Gabbert, and they run the wild Henry, I called it. Derrick Henry taking a lot of direct snaps, and they just pieced together a game plan. It was Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator at the time, did a miraculous job. Texans with Deshaun Watson in his prime lose that game up there to the Titans. And I thought, okay, that's game planning, man. So the Titans can game plan their way into a win. It'll be an interesting chess match with whatever's available. It's like that cooking show Chopped. What kind of ingredients do I have? Put it together and let's see what happens. Let's see how the meal is for each team.
Well, you know what a big Geddy Lee fan I am, but I am not in a rush to see Cooper Rush play here. So I'm much more of a Lamar guy, Kendrick Lamar guy, and a Lamar Jackson guy. Marc Vandermeer is here. He will be here. Hey, dude, you need a crab cake. I got a spot. So come on in on Saturday. Get ready for football on Sunday. 1 o'clock, Ravens and Texans are going to do it. Marc Vandermeer will be calling the action for the Houston Texans on the Texans Radio Network. Hey, man, I had Enrique on. I've had John McClain. I'm going deep into the heart of Texas to all my old Aller fans, as well as the Texans people, to get ready for the football game this week. Luke's going to be out in Owings Mills, checking all injury reports. You're on the WNST Tech Service. You'll get it first. All of that brought to you by Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. Mark, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Sometimes they're playoff games. I hope we both have that problem in 10, 12 weeks of having to get together in early January. I know we're crossing our fingers and all have those hopes, but 1-3 is 1-3. Somebody could be 1-4. We got to make sure it's not us.
Yep, exactly. Let's hope for the very best here, Nestor. Have a good one.
Appreciate you. From Houston, Texas, back here to Baltimore, Marc Vandermeer calling the action on the Houston Radio Network for all things Texas. I'm Nestor. We are WNST AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Baltimore positive. Stay with us.